somewhere along the way, we can have another birth as a child. Again, this birth as a child is a case in which we cast off, not necessarily the body, but cast off the attitudes which have made it impossible for us to grow. Attitudes which have given us nothing but sorrow, selfishness, self-centered, antagonisms of every kind, attitudes in which we have sacrificed peace and happiness, and as a result have been punished not only by our misery and misfortune, but by sickness and all types of disasters. Why not have the sense of a 5-year-old and consciously decide to get rid of these things? To find that anything that hurts needlessly any other creature should be forever out of our systems. That we are not here to blame people. We are here to work with them for common growth. We are not here to compete with them. We are here for the great problem of learning to cooperate together for the survival of man and the glory of God. We are here to live out a plan, not a chaos. We are here to do things that will make a better world. We are not here simply to go on until we pass out of this life. Pass out of the life without any knowledge of why we were born, without any realization of what we should have done. But occasionally there are what William Blake called the good people, who have always by nature lived well, regardless of circumstances. And these people are truly the ones in which, in his engravings, Blake shows the soul of the good person ascending in the keeping of the angels. There is this idea that this good we do cuts away from us most of the troubles and sorrows of life. If we were not opinionated, self-centered, and dogmatic, our lives would be much simpler. And children aren't those things normally because they haven't been educated into them. And the pressures of society working on the mind, and the mind only, have gradually changed many millions of people into small tyrants who found no pleasure or happiness for themselves and give none to others. This type of thing is the result of assuming that we grow up, and by growing up we become heartless. By growing up we become disillusioned, cruel, self-centered, arrogant, and live only for a few dollars that will vanish as they always have. The whole point is that we try to use the mind to get the impression that we're growing up. But we're not. We don't grow up because we become more complicated. We grow up because we become less complicated. It's true in politics. Someday in this world, this whole political system has to finally dissolve into the fact that we have one planet with very limited resources, and we better learn to get along together happily. It will be so much easier, save a great deal of wear and tear, and liberate the mind for more constructive thinking. There's no reason why it couldn't happen. And there's no reason why these things can't happen in ourselves. I think Confucius would say they must happen in ourselves first. The first thing we've got to take care of is the rectification of personal character. Then we've got to prove this rectification, this self-improvement, by carrying it into our intimate domestic life. We've got to make this new level of integrities the basis of the home, of our courteous and proper relationships with those to whom we are tied by blood or by bonds. Therefore, that the proof of our redemption, the proof that our childhood is back, as it is that we live quietly, constructively, and become beloved of those who know us, always willing to help, always patient in problems, always unselfish in moments of decision, and always liberal and tolerant of the beliefs of other people. If we can establish homes upon this basis, if more and more people under the pressure of present circumstances are realizing that we are disintegrating the foundations of society for no good reason. Then we may be able gradually to restore the simple life. Nature sometimes almost does this for us. Many persons, as they grow older, become again a little bit like children. They become more kind, more detached, more gentle, or if they've had a bad conditioning all the way along, they can become impossible. But if they are impossible children. They have brought back all the childish defects, all of the immaturities of life, and they remain in their closing years perfect examples of what to avoid. And the time has come to avoid this type of thing, so that we live in peace and die in peace, that we are born gently and lovingly, that we carry out our daily duties and responsibilities faithfully, that we earn our livelihood by diligence, that we depend only upon our own inner resources for the decisions that give us the courage and the values to live as better people. If we work out these problems a little bit in our own gentle way, we can find a new childhood of humanity. It would be kind of wonderful to find a whole world of nothing but happy children. Well, that world of happy children is here, because each one of us is a happy child who has become miserable by trying to grow up, when actually all we have done is to grow old. You have not grown up, because to grow up means that this child life has got to come through and become one of the great creative and protective forces of our human existence. Then there won't be any more of this constant irritation. We can do it to ourselves, and that's the beginning. This is meditation. This is discipline. This is mysticism. But it is by means of this that which was of deity in the beginning, like the prodigal son, wanders through the illusions of the lower world and finally returns to his father's house. And we all come back because we are children of one father. We are children of one parent. We are parental offspring, sons and daughters of the infinite. And therefore we all have the right to be brothers one and sisters one with each other, and children to the eternal parents from which our existence is suspended. In those kind of thinkings, perhaps we can, get back a little of that good-heartedness of childhood that we can remember dimly, but seemingly can no longer maintain as a way of life. Well, that's it, folks.